The movie begins with a family screaming and running out of their house because a ghost is inside. They jump into their car, speed away, and disappear in complete panic. A year later, the house is almost entirely ruined, and a family named the Burgleys arrives to buy it. Even though they don't really like the place, they decide to purchase it because it's extremely cheap and the only thing they can afford. At the same time, Frank wants to make his family happy, especially his son Kevin, who's always introverted, never laughs, and doesn't care whether the house is good or terrible. Kevin appears playing his guitar alone, and his dad asks him to help move in the new furniture. When he goes downstairs, he notices a girl his age living next door who also loves music. Kevin continues exploring the new place and starts feeling something strange. Suddenly, his brother jumps out and scares him badly, but Kevin doesn't react at all. He doesn't seem to fear anything. After they settle in, things aren't easy for Kevin. It becomes clear that this isn't the first time the family has moved, and Kevin is searching for something real in his life. He also doesn't trust his father, who constantly fails at every job he gets. Over time, Kevin's deeper issue surfaces. As a kid, he used to see his dad as a hero. But growing up, he realized Frank wasn't a hero at all. Frank knows this well and keeps trying to fix his relationship with Kevin, but it's not easy. One night, Kevin wakes up to footsteps in the room above him. He decides to check it out, turns on his phone flashlight, and quietly walks upstairs. After a moment, a ghost appears and tries all kinds of tricks to scare him, but the way the ghost does it only makes Kevin laugh. He doesn't feel scared at all. He turns on his phone camera and starts filming. The ghost doesn't even look frightening. He looks like a regular person, just a little transparent. The ghost gets embarrassed and disappears, but Kevin calls out to him and insists on talking. Eventually, the ghost comes back. Unfortunately, the ghost can't remember anything from his past. He's basically lost his memory, and he has no voice because he's, well, a ghost. Kevin notices a name stitched on the bowling shirt the ghost is wearing. Ernest. From that moment, Kevin begins enjoying his new friendship with Ernest, and he gets even happier when Ernest helps him scare his brother. The next day, their neighbor Joy shows up at school and introduces herself to Kevin. She asks him to hang out. After school, Kevin and his brother Fulton go home, but their mom takes Fulton's phone because he didn't answer her calls. During dinner, Frank notices Kevin laughing, for the very first time, and is surprised. Later, Kevin watches videos online from Dr. Leslie, an anthropology expert who explains that the human body contains massive amounts of energy, and when people die, that energy becomes trapped. Only on rare occasions does it escape as a ghost. Suddenly, Kevin notices Fulton holding his phone and laughing at the ghost video he recorded, where Ernest is trying and failing to scare Kevin. Kevin gets mad, and they start fighting. Their dad comes in, Fulton shows him the video, and Frank immediately believes it's a real ghost, not fake at all. He tells them not to tell their mother because she scares easily. Frank then asks Kevin to send him the clip. Kevin gets annoyed that their secret is out. Frank quickly uploads the video to YouTube, hoping to get famous and make money, and titles it, "Meet Ernest, the Real Ghost." Within minutes, the video hits thousands of views. Frank and Fulton are thrilled, but Kevin is upset. As the video spreads worldwide, hashtags about Ernest trend everywhere. Some people accuse the video of being fake, while others fully believe it and even demand rights and protection for ghosts against bullying. Many viewers become fans of Ernest. Frank feels the need to prove Ernest is real, so he and Fulton go upstairs to find him, but he doesn't show up. Kevin comes in and decides to call him his own way. He starts playing the guitar beautifully and sings to him, trying to connect with him. Frank films the whole thing. At that moment, Ernest appears and stands at the doorway. At the same time, Melanie rushes in and walks straight through Ernest's body, and the phone ends up capturing her on camera. When she sees Ernest, she lets out a terrified scream, and he panics just as much before disappearing. That's when Melanie decides they need to leave the house immediately, but Frank tries to convince her that he's finally found something he's actually good at, and that this is their chance to make money and become famous. she eventually gives in. Melanie's video spreads online and blows up worldwide. While Frank and Fulton celebrate their massive success, the press surrounds the house, trying to get inside for a shot of the ghost. At that moment, Kevin is upstairs with Ernest, trying to help him remember anything from his past, but nothing works. They hear the crowd outside and go to take a look. Ernest tries to speak but can't, so he writes on the glass, "Help me." Kevin realizes Ernest is desperate to get his memory back, and that losing it must be tied to a traumatic event that happened when he died. Kevin decides to help him cross over to the afterlife. At school, he tries to find more information about Ernest's life, and Joy, who turns out to be a skilled hacker, helps him. She digs up details about the house's previous owner, Schiller, who bought the place in 1965 and sold it in 1971. Strangely, there's no record of his death or anything confirming he died. There's only one picture of Schiller with Ernest, proving they knew each other. But since Ernest can't remember anything, the only way to find out the truth is to go see Schiller himself. Luckily, Schiller is still alive, though he lives far away in another city. Kevin decides to take Ernest and Joy and drive to Schiller's place without telling his family, because he knows Frank would absolutely shut it down. Days go by, and Ernest's fame, and the family's, keeps skyrocketing. They get booked on major TV shows, and their popularity keeps increasing. But fame has downsides too, and word eventually reaches the wrong people. Dr. Leslie discovers Ernest. We learn she worked for the CIA in the 90s and was responsible for capturing ghosts considered dangerous. The agency had built a weapon called the Wizard's Mace to hunt ghosts. But the project leaked to the public, and people tore the agency apart for wasting tons of money on nonsense. The program was shut down, Leslie was fired, and she moved on to giving TV lectures and advice. Nobody believed in ghosts anymore, until Ernest's videos went viral. The moment she saw them, she became convinced Ernest was a dangerous ghost that needed to be captured immediately. Leslie visits Frank, introduces herself, and warns them that Ernest is extremely dangerous and must be caught and locked up in a special ghost facility. Naturally, Frank gets angry and kicks her out. Ernest is his golden ticket, and he's not about to lose that. That night, Leslie returns with CIA agents and an official warrant to capture Ernest. But they arrive too late. Kevin and Joy already took Ernest and escaped without anyone noticing. The three of them hit the road to uncover Ernest's past. The next day, the CIA forces Frank to release a statement claiming that Kevin and Joy kidnapped the ghost Ernest and ran off with him. People start believing Ernest is an evil spirit, and soon everyone is out searching for them. Not long after, 2 police officers track them down and try to arrest them, but the trio manages to escape with Ernest's help and continue their trip to Schiller. 2 days later, they reach Schiller's house. Kevin decides to go in alone and leaves Joy and Ernest in the car. When Kevin enters, Schiller is surprised to see him and immediately recognizes him as the kid from the family living with the ghost Ernest. They sit down, and Schiller begins telling everything. He explains that Ernest was his friend. Ernest had been married to Schiller's sister-in-law and had a beautiful daughter with her. He lived a happy life until his wife suddenly fell ill and died. After that, everything fell apart. Ernest loved his wife deeply, and once she passed away, he turned to drinking to cope, but alcohol destroyed him and he spiraled downhill fast. One day, Ernest left his daughter with Schiller, saying he needed to step out for a while and would be back soon, but he never returned. He disappeared completely, and no one ever found out what happened. When Schiller saw him appear as a ghost on TV, he realized Ernest must have died. He tells Kevin that Ernest wasn't a good man because he abandoned his daughter at the moment she needed him most. Kevin is shaken by the truth and refuses to accept it. He feels like something in the story doesn't add up, until Ernest suddenly bursts into the room, knocking down a metal eagle statue, appearing helpless and unable to speak, while Schiller shows no fear or surprise. At the same time, Leslie and her forces stormed the place to arrest Kevin and Ernest, and they were carrying the Wizard's Mirage, weapons made specifically for capturing ghosts. They actually managed to catch them easily. After that, Kevin and Joy were released, but of course Ernest was imprisoned in the facility made for ghosts. Leslie went to see Ernest in his cell, crying with joy because she had been waiting for this moment for years. People never believed ghosts were real. A tear fell from her eye, and Ernest felt sympathy for her, trying to wipe her tears. Meanwhile, the head of intelligence arrived with a group of businessmen and reporters. Leslie got worried and asked him what he planned to do with Ernest. He told her that since Ernest was dead, he now belonged to them, and they could do whatever they wanted with him. His words made her even more nervous. Kevin, on the other hand, sank back into isolation and loneliness after he had finally escaped that phase thanks to Ernest's friendship. He fell into depression, refusing to leave the house or talk to anyone because of what happened to Ernest. Frank went to talk to his son Kevin and apologized for everything he had done to him. He also apologized for not being a good father, and admitted that fame and money had completely blinded him and pulled him away from his family. Frank promised he would try as hard as he could to fix every mistake he made in his life and in the lives of his two sons. Kevin was moved by his father's words and decided to forgive him. Meanwhile, Ernest was still in the ghost prison being tortured. During the torture, he saw a falcon symbol on the officer's uniform, which triggered his memory and made everything come back. He remembered that after his wife died, his friend Schiller had offered to take care of Ernest's daughter temporarily, and Ernest believed they were just trying to help him through his grief. He gave them his daughter immediately. But he didn't know that Schiller and his wife had other intentions. They wanted the girl permanently because Schiller's wife was infertile. After they took the child, they killed Ernest and buried his body in their house, the same house Frank's family lives in now. That's why Ernest's spirit remained stuck in that place. We also learn that Ernest lost his memory because of the shock and betrayal he suffered at Schiller's hands. Ernest realizes Schiller was the one who told Leslie about them when they visited him. Ernest understands that Kevin is in danger, and that Schiller will try to kill him because Kevin is stubborn and will keep digging for the truth. Ernest decides to escape from prison and save him. The surprise is that Leslie helps him escape after discovering the intelligence agency's dark intentions. She also starts to believe there is real truth behind everything happening, that Ernest is a good and innocent spirit. At that same time, Schiller goes to Frank's house to kill Kevin. Frank and Fulton try to fight him off and protect Kevin, and a big fight breaks out between all of them. After a long struggle, Schiller manages to knock Frank out. He is just about to kill Kevin when Ernest arrives at the last second and stops him. Ernest decides it's time for revenge for everything Schiller did to him years ago. He attacks him, beats him, and knocks him unconscious. At that moment, Frank wakes up from unconsciousness and sees Schiller standing behind them holding a gun. Frank runs to protect Kevin, and Schiller falls out the window and dies. Right then, Ernest disappears mysteriously, and no one knows where he went. Later, the police arrive and investigate what happened. After a short time, they rule Schiller's death as self-defense because he attacked them in their home in the middle of the night. Once everything settles and the problems are over, Kevin and Frank go to meet Ernest. We learn they agreed with him that he must disappear completely so people will forget about him, and the chaos surrounding him will end, and the intelligence agency will stop looking for him. But Kevin and Frank didn't come to meet Ernest alone, they brought a surprise with them. It was Ernest's daughter, the one taken from him long ago. She came with them to meet her father, and she recognized him instantly the moment she saw him. Neither of them could believe they were finally together after all these years. They hugged tightly, overwhelmed with happiness and tears. After Ernest got justice from the man who killed him, and after seeing the daughter he had been deprived of for so long, and knowing she was safe, his mission was finally complete. Before his spirit was freed, he went to say goodbye to Kevin, his closest friend, the one who helped him more than anyone else. Ernest's spirit was finally freed, crossing to the other side at last. Some time later, Frank and his family decided to move out of the house and into a new one. Before leaving, Kevin went to talk to Joy, reassuring her that he would be leaving that house but moving to a place near her, and that they would stay together. Once everything was ready, Kevin said goodbye to the house where he lived an unforgettable adventure. And that's where our movie ends. Thank you for watching, And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.